what we did was we worked with the American College of Lifestyle Medicine to analyze the problem, and we concluded that the root of it was the medical board exams. When medical students graduate from medical school, they are given tests, and the schools teach to the tests. And the tests are administered by an organization called the National Board of Medical Examiners. And the NBME has about 10,000 questions in their bank of questions for the medical schools to pull from. About 1,000 of them are so-called mandatory. And the rest are optional, and they can use the ones they want on their particular tests. So how many of those 10,000 questions do you think relate to diet and lifestyle to prevent illness? Well, if you guess 0, you're pretty spot on. So what we did is we worked with ACLM to create 1,000 new questions to add to the bank. And we raised a couple $100,000 to get them professionally created in the right format, in the right way. And now they're being delivered to medical schools so that schools can use them as part of their question banks. The next step is to get them widely adopted, and enough of them will, if enough of them adopt them widely, then the NBME can make them part of the mandatory portion of the question bank. But one step at a time, we believe that if we can change the tests, as we're beginning to do, then we can change the education in medical schools. And if we can change the education in medical schools, we can change the practice of medicine. And if we can change the practice of medicine, we believe we can uplift the health of millions of people. So these are just a few of the intervention points that we're excited about and working on. But the biggest intervention point is you and all of us, and the steps we take as individuals day in and day out, because collectively we send out ripples that make an impact. And we all have our own circles of influence. We all have our own resource space. We all have our own families, friends, community, workplaces, skill sets. And I want to invite you, if you're getting inspired, if you're feeling a sense of passion or possibility around this food revolution movement, I want to invite you to see yourself not as a passive consumer, not as an exploiter, but as a participant and a co-creator, as a champion of life itself, fighting for its survival, standing for its possibility, and letting hope be alive through your actions and choices. Because you know what? Those of us who have breath in our lungs and blood in our veins and love in our hearts and dreams in our spirits have so much to be grateful for, and so much incredible possibility alive in us right now to be a part of the solution on this planet. Let's see, I want to tell a few stories as well to kind of illustrate the point here of what we're working on. Let's see, I guess one that I want to talk about a little bit is an experience I had some years back. We were focusing on genetically modified organisms, or GMOs. And actually, let me talk about that for a minute, and then I'll come back to the story. So GMOs are a controversial topic. And let me first say, what does GMO mean? Well, some people think it means God move over, but it doesn't. It means genetically modified organism. And GMOs have been touted to be a way to help feed a hungry world by increasing crop yield, to reduce water consumption, that they would give us better nutrition and better flavor, and reduce pesticide consumption. Those all sound great. Who wouldn't want bigger yields, less water consumption, better nutrition, and better flavor, and less pesticides, right? Awesome. Only trouble is that the technology has been in the hands of companies like Monsanto, now owned by Bayer, that have their own profit motive. And what they've primarily done is create crops with one or both of two traits. One is that they're pesticide producers, which means they produce their own insecticides in every cell of the plant, so it doesn't have to be sprayed from the outside. So technically that reduces insect consumption of the plants and reduces pesticide consumption. But these insecticide producers are also themselves classified as pesticides. They are actually, bugs take a bite, their stomach split open and they die. There's no known harm to humans that we know of, but we don't know for sure. And that makes a lot of people uncomfortable. But the major trait that's been engineered into these crops is to be herbicide tolerant. So this means we can spray herbicides all over the fields and the weeds will die and the plants will live, right? And so that can save on weeding costs and, which farmers, of course, can appreciate. who wouldn't like to not have to weed? However, the bad side is that glyphosate is the primary herbicide being used here. Its primary active or Roundup, which is the primary active ingredient in there, is glyphosate. And glyphosate is an endocrine disruptor. It's a probable carcinogen. And most people don't know this. It's been patented as an antibiotic. So it can actually kill bacteria. So what do you think happens when glyphosate gets into the human gut? Well, it's not good. It can throw off the bacterial balance. And, in the last 30 years, as we've had more and more glyphosate being sprayed on our crops, we've also seen a rapid increase in the number of people suffering from food allergies, so-called leaky gut type syndromes, and other mysterious health conditions, autoimmune conditions. And a lot of these could potentially be linked to the glyphosate being sprayed on our crops. So it's a great business move, by the way, because Bayer makes glyphosate and they also make the glyphosate tolerant crops. So they're kind of creating a built-in market. And the amount of glyphosate being sprayed on our crops has increased exponentially in the last 30 years. No accident there. So glyphosate is a pesticide. And the net result of all this is that we've actually seen a net increase in pesticide use associated with GMO agriculture. But we've also seen no net increase in yield. We've seen no increase in flavor or nutritional value or reduction in water consumption. In fact, a report by the Union of Concerned Scientists on GMO agriculture and whether or not it yielded better crop outcome ended up with the title Failure to Yield. They concluded there was no net benefit. Now, I'm not saying that there will never be a benefit from GMOs. We may at some time find crops that are of some benefit, but what I am saying is that so far, really what we've got is pesticide producers and herbicide tolerance. And neither of those traits make me as a consumer feel super great about eating these foods.